Hello, welcome to episode 134 of the Craft House Magic podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk in the UK, and today is the 24th of September, so welcome everybody. I hope you've all had a lovely crafty week since the last time I've spoken to you, and I'm here to share all the things that I've been making in the last 7 days. So today I have some knitting, I have some cross stitch, and I have some confessions to show you. So it sounds like it might be a shorter podcast, but we'll see. I feel like I haven't been able to make as much stuff this week because I've been really busy working, setting up and putting together all the advent calendars, which will be going out in the next week or two. So you can find me on Instagram, Ravelry and Facebook as Craft House Magic, and I have my own website, crafthhousemagic.co.uk, where you can find my hand-dyed yarns, handmade project bags, stitch markers, HiyaHiya knitting needles and bag making things like fabrics and cord and zips and things like that. So let's get on with the knitting, shall we? So I've been mainly working on one knitting project, which is the Slumber Shawl, which I showed you on last week's episode, and this is how it's looking. It's a bit difficult to show you because it's still on the cable, but there's some wiggly bits around the outside and it's got these gorgeous little eyelets. So I've started using the new colour. So this pattern originally is supposed to be knitted in Aran weight yarn, but I've used a DK, but I've used the same needle size that they suggested for the Aran weight, and I knit quite tightly anyway, so I think that tension works quite well. Normally you should have 4 different colours, but I just wanted to use 2. So I've integrated my second colour where it said to integrate third colour, obviously because I've only got 2 colourways. And I've only got a couple of repeats of this eyeletty pattern to go, and then it says to sort of do the bind off. So I might do an extra repeat or so just to make it a little bit bigger, and this section of the corally colour a little bit bigger as well. So I've gone into the second skein of the Smells Like Teen Spirit colourway, which is one of my own hand-dyed yarns, but I'm only on the first ball of Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now that I'd caked up ready for this project. So I thought I'd need 2 of each, but I may well do it in two skeins of the Smells Like Teen Spirit and 1 of the last one, but we'll see, because if I'm going to do some extra rows, and there's also I-cord on the edge, so that'll probably take quite a bit of yarn as well. And as it's in DK, I think that I-cord on the edge will take quite a bit more space, so it's quite large. If I sit back a bit, you can see that it is hand span at the moment, but I think that it's probably stretches out a little bit more than that because I'm restricted by my needles a little bit, and it also, when you block things, it does grow a little bit as well. So it's a very sort of pretty shawl. I probably should have thought, what am I going to wear with this before I actually started making it, but sometimes you just like to have the joy of knitting rather than the end product, if that makes sense. It is difficult to show you around the edges here, but that's going to be wiggly all the way around the outside, like so. So I thought I would show you a sort of blast from the past to show you how my other shawl that I knitted, a Stephen West pattern with a similar sort of wiggly edge. So this pattern is called the Doodler, and this has a sort of wiggly edge around the outside as well, so it's going to look something like that. And this is one of the shawls that I most enjoyed knitting, and I do love Stephen's patterns, so I bet that I'm going to be making a lot more of his design. So this shawl was mainly knitted in Life in the Long Grass colourways. I can't tell you what the colourways are off the top of my head, but I did pop them in to my Ravelry project page if you are interested in seeing those, but they were Life in the Long Grass colourways. So I tend to wear this with a shawl pin because it isn't the biggest of shawls I've knitted. I do like a large shawl. So I tend to wear it sort of like this with a shawl pin on it, and I love that wiggly edge. So that's why I wanted to do the Slumber Shawl, because I like that wiggly sort of effect. So like I said, the Slumber Shawl, which I'm currently knitting, was supposed to be knitted on Aran weight yarn, and I did it with DK just to make it slightly more lightweight, because I thought it might be a bit heavy for me if I did knit it in Aran. But I'm really enjoying knitting it in DK, and this is my Merino DK base that I'm knitting it in. And it's just lovely and squishy, so I can't wait to cast off so that I can show you that wiggly edge properly. But if I do this bit again just to show you, because I can't stop looking at those wiggles. Look at those, I love them, absolutely love it. So really, really fun to knit, and actually really, really quick to knit as well, for a shawl really. So there we go, that's what I've been working on. I have found out that Stephen is doing another mystery knit along this year, and this year's is called Slipstavoganza, so I'm definitely going to join in. And I did mention last week or the week before that I was looking at my stash to see what colours I was going to choose, and I think I've made a decision. So these are the three that I think I've decided to use for the sort of colours. I'll show you that end so you can't just focus on the label. So these are the three colours that I've chosen, and you can see that they sort of blend in a little bit. There's some sort of greeny, muted greeny colours which are in this yarn, and then we've got some sort of purples that are reflected in this yarn as well. So I think those three will go lovely together. So I'll show you what each of them look like. So this one is a Lolodidit yarn, and it's called I Love Daryl, and it's apparently a reference to The Walking Dead, but I never watched The Walking Dead, so I don't even know who Daryl is. So I've got that skein to use in it, and I picked this up when I was visiting Florida a few years back, so it's been in my stash a few years. So the one that's got tones of both of the other colours in, so the green and the purpley pinks, that's a fondant fibre, and that's called Sentimental Journey. And last but not least is this gorgeous skein that my lovely friend Peggy gifted to me, and it's by Blue Skin Hand Dyed Yarns, and that's a shop on Etsy, and it's called Spanish Lullabies. So isn't that lovely? And I thought that those three went together really lovely. So you might notice that there's only 3 skeins here that I've got for the Slipstavoganza, and you do need 5, you need 2 of the same colour. So I thought I'd pick these 3 out of my stash and then dye up another colour to go with them. So this one and this one are both merino, cashmere and nylon mixes, and this one is a merino and tencel base, but they're all very sort of squishy, lofty yarns. So I'm going to dye up some merino, nylon and cashmere out of my own hand dyed yarns in the Living on a Prayer colourway, which is this one, but this one is actually on BFL, just to show you. But I thought that that sort of dark grey would just pick out those colours nicely for my Slipstavoganza shawl. So I thought I'd go for generally quite subtle colours, but I'm going to love that, I think. And I'm using up stash yarn, so that's always good. So I thought I'd show you those. I have bought the pattern, and you get these extra sort of bit of instructions before you even start having the first clue. The first clue's on the 9th of October, so I have a little time yet to make sure I've got time to dye the yarn up and make sure I've got the needles set up ready, but I'm very excited to join in the knit along. So when I was having a look at my stash, I found another couple of sets that I think that go well together. So either I make a shawl out of these, or maybe a t-shirt, like a knitted t-shirt, I don't know, we shall see. So I thought that these 3 went together really nicely. So this top one is Stranded Dyeworks, and this one's called the Legless Flamingo colourway. Secondly, we've got a Ducky Darlings. I don't know whether this has got a colourway name. It's one of her sort of semi-solids, tonals. But I don't think it's printed on the label, but it's a Ducky Darlings yarn. And thirdly is a yarn from Hedgerow yarns, and it's called Sunset Boulevard. So I thought those 3 go together nicely. Maybe a t-shirt, we'll shall see, like a fade. And I picked these 3 out as well, as I thought those went together really nicely out of my stash. So we've got a sort of turquoisey with loads of speckles, and that's another Stranded Dyeworks. And then I thought it toned into this nice, slightly darker Hue Loco yarn that I'd got in my stash as well. Oh, I forgot to say what the first one was. This one's called Equinox, and this one's called Robin's Egg by Hue Loco, and this last one is another Hedgerow yarns, and this one's called Zen Garden. I think that'd be lovely for a t-shirt. So I thought I'd rather than leaving my stash and buying more yarn, I'd use what I've got. So those are possible plans for the future. Although I might have another mess around again. But the yarns that I've chosen for my Slipstavoganza are the ones I'm definitely going to use. I've decided. Now I have a cross-stitch bit of the podcast. Now I've been very good and I've been continuing my 20 minutes every morning over the last week since the last podcast again. And I've managed to do a little bit more on the cross-stitch. So I have done this bit at the top here in the sort of blues, and there's sort of pinks and purples up there as well, which I think is really pretty. There's an additional bit of back stitch that I need to do on top of these leaves, so it will have a little bit more detail on there, and that works right across this top panel here. Hopefully in the next week I can sort of get a little bit more done. What I've been doing is I started sort of in the centre here and I'm working outwards, so I think I might continue doing that, and it sort of mirrors either side, so I can do the same pieces at once, so I can stitch it without looking at the chart too much once I've done one side, if that makes sense. So there we go. So this is a sampler. It's designed by Moira Blackburn, and I picked this up from a charity shop some years ago, and I'm sort of in this bit across here now, so I haven't got that much to do. I've got to finish this top strip, this bottom bit here, and then there's a frame all the way round, so I'm hoping to get it finished before Christmas. So even though that this is a vintage pattern, they've actually re-released it, so in the show notes I've actually pasted a link to where you can actually purchase the pattern. I don't know whether the kits have the same Ada in, I can't tell you that. I haven't double checked, but I have an 18 count Ada in the kit, and it has this lovely texture on it, which I think is absolutely lovely. But it is an 18 count anyway, so I've just measured it. There was no information in the actual pattern itself, so hopefully I've measured it correctly. So we are now at the confessions section. Now, I may have purchased quite a bit of fabric, but I do have plans for it all, so I thought it might be interesting to show you a picture of what the pattern is, what I want to do with the particular piece of fabric at the same time, so I'm not just going, oh look what I bought, look what I bought. They're all planned. That's my excuse anyway. So anytime I look on the Rainbow Fabrics website, I just feel that I have to purchase stuff, so I should not look. So the Rainbow Fabrics website, they do sort of dead stock fabrics and end of line, so you can get quite good bargains on there. And to be honest, I've not had bad quality fabric whenever I've bought it. They've always been a reasonable fabric quality. Sometimes they state in the listing that there's some sort of damage to the fabric, but they normally make it quite clear. They do take a little time to arrive. To be honest, for the prices that they sell things for, it's really good value. So the first one I purchased is a jersey fabric, and this one actually came out much nicer than I thought it would be. So it's a loop back jersey, and it's sort of a cream base. Now actually on camera that's coming out slightly more lighter than it is, so it's a creamy base with like a black sketch of some sort of leafiness. Some of the leaves are absolutely gorgeous. I think this one here is my favourite. I love that. Just a nice simple leaf pattern. So I purchased a metre of this thinking, oh, I'll make myself a t-shirt with that. But actually, now it's arrived, I love it so much, I decided I wanted to make a sort of stretchy jersey dress out of it. Perhaps the Joni dress that I made a couple of weeks ago, or perhaps maybe the Zadie dress from Tilly and the Buttons as well. So they're both Tilly and the Buttons patterns. The Joni dress is from the stretch book that she's got out, and the Zadie dress can be purchased separately as well. So that's the only jersey I managed to pick up. They don't sell loads of jersey on there, but I was very impressed with the quality of that one. So a few weeks ago I bought some cotton linen from Rainbow Fabrics that was in a teal colour, and this is the same sort of fabric base and it's in a rusty colour, so I had to purchase some of that. Now normally I wouldn't wear a rust, but I think with this sort of a nice black top I could have a skirt out of this. I think that would be lovely. And I was thinking maybe the Fiore Skirt by Closet Core Patterns, so that's planned for that one as well. I may change my mind on the skirt pattern, but the Fiore Skirt has got several options, and I was thinking maybe View B, which is the sort of pocket one side and it's sort of lopsided. That sounds a bit weird. But there's sort of a wrap over the front, which finishes sort of to the one side, and then there's one pocket. Or View C, which has got a button down the front with two nice big pockets on as well. I have purchased some black floral, and this is a viscose. And to be honest, this is a lovely, lovely viscose. It's got, it doesn't feel like it's going to crease. I sort of creased it up in my hand and it doesn't feel like it's, because some of the viscoses, they feel very, very creasy, and you're thinking, well, halfway through the day you'll be just a big crease, won't you, basically, if you're wearing it. And I thought a pussy bow blouse out of this one, out of nice black with white flowers on, and of course because they've got a different colourway, I may have purchased 4 meters of the same print but in pink this time. To make a dress with, and I was thinking maybe the Maisie dress by Sew Over It for that one. Bit summery, maybe I'll leave this to next year to sew, but that's the same sort of viscose base, and that is a lovely, lovely drapey fabric that doesn't look as if it will crease that much anyway, which is good. And because you always need black fabric, because black is always good, I saw this as well. This is very similar, but a different shape of flower on it, little daisies instead. And I thought another blouse with this one. So maybe like, oh gosh, what's that pattern called? It's one of the Sew Over It patterns with the collar around the neck. I will pop a picture of it on the screen so you can sort of get an idea of what I mean. And maybe I could do a different coloured collar on that, but we'll see. So that's what I'm thinking for this one. And then I was also thinking sort of on the blouses side when I saw this lovely blue, and I love this blue. I think that blue suits me quite well. So I picked up 2 meters of this just plain viscose chalet. This looks as if it might crease quite a bit, but I still love it because of the colour. So I picked up a couple of meters of that as well. So those are all from Rainbow Fabrics. Like I said, they did take about a week and a half to arrive, but sometimes it's worth the wait, isn't it? And of course, because I bought another metre of the jersey fabric that I was talking about, I may have purchased another number of things to make it free postage. So hopefully by next week I'll be able to show you what I purchased in the second order. Oh well, I say second order, but obviously I've made loads of orders to Rainbow Fabrics now. I should stop looking on fabric websites because it's just a bad idea, isn't it? I think though, as long as I know what I'm going to do with the fabric, then it's fine. And they're bargains as well. Had to get them. Anyway, I'm making excuses for myself, aren't I? Oh dear. So I think that's all for today. Sorry it's a bit of a short one. Hopefully I can get lots more sewing for myself done this weekend, so I'll have more things to show you. But I hope you have a lovely weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I shall see you in the next episode. Bye!